is with you, turn to the book of Hebrews.
Right.
Book of Hebrews.
Right.
Any other salutations that I missed, amen. Certainly it was just of my head and not of my heart.
All right.
Amen. Book of Hebrews, chapter 1.
Right.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 1. We'll be brief this morning. We'll begin at verse 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. And again I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. And again, when he bringeth the first begotten into the world, he saith, and let all the angels of God worship him. And of the angels he said, who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire. That was what you were last week, Brother Pastor, a flame of fire.
Yeah.
But unto the Son he said, Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. Can you shout amen?
Amen.
Can somebody shout amen again?
Amen.
You may be seated in the presence of the Lord.
Amen.
The thin line between love and hate.
What's up, man?
The thin line between love and hate. There is a particular thing which has attached itself to your spiritual identity, which always, if not effectively disposed of, causes those for whom the Lord has suffered to fall perpetually short of God's purpose. Praise God, amen. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the overwhelming majority of God's people, those for whom Jesus lived a perfect life upon this earth, amen, those whom he suffered, endured abuse,
Come on.
mocked and humiliated. I'm going out there and say that most of us leave this world without having even scratched the surface of what God has ordained in His world.
All right.
Say amen. Why? Because man continues to exhibit the inability or even the lack of desire to fall out of love with the things of the world.
Come on.
Bible tells us in 1 John 2, verses 15 through 17, to love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. All that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the lust thereof. He that doeth the will of God abideth forever.
Amen.
Too many times we allow the things which are appealing to the flesh to determine how and with whom we behave.
Come on.
Now y'all didn't get that. Y'all get that on my own. How do we let our fleshly lusts determine how we behave? And we let our lusts determine with whom we behave. And the reason why a lot of us can't get right in the Lord. The reason why a lot of people can't stay in church. I've been there, I've done that, and I got the t-shirt and the cap to prove it. The reason why a lot of people can't stay on the straight and narrow is because you've been behaving with too many people. Come on. Y'all don't like it. You can't be running around with everybody. Say, man, you can't be running around and lying around with everybody.
You preaching.
Saturday night messages. Say amen.
Come on.
Even when we've known what the will of the Lord has been.
Even when we know.
If our natural man, our flesh, sets his eyes upon something or someone,
Preach.
even when that thing or that person is in complete opposition to what we know to be the will of God. If you or I or any one of us are not walking in close fellowship with the Lord, you're going to find a way to get it done. That's why the Apostle Paul tells us that, amen, 1 Corinthians 10 and 5, to cast down imagination and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. And bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. You can't let everything hang on your mind. Amen. My mother used to tell me years ago, amen, when I was a child, in the formative stages of my life, you can't stop the birds from flying over your head. But you can keep them from making a nest in your hair. Amen. Just because the thoughts come up over your mind don't mean you have to let it hang there. Because if you let it hang there, amen, the devil is putting it into full action. You got to cast it down. You have control over what you allow to stay right here. Can I get a witness in this place?
Come on. You preach. Come on.
Things that you like, or things that you have an affinity for, things which you allow, that you know for a surety are totally against the will of God. You know for a surety that God has no use for these things, even though you like it. These are the things which keep you from walking in what God has told for you. Our subject is the thin line between love and hate. The idiom thin line means that it's difficult to distinguish between two competing things, emotions, or situations. Does not mean that you don't know the difference between right and wrong. Does not mean that you don't know the difference between